prickly way to start.
Yes, indeed.
Is that defensive or sharing?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
It's an impenetrable wall.
Yes. I'm telling you, stay away.
Well, so fine.
Hey, everyone. It's great to see
Niiamah.
you all. Hi. Thank you, David. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, at least I was telling you the story about coming in as Niiamah now. David was in the room. He was one of the people here who helped make that change come up.
I was
Nice.
witnessing his rebirth. This bloody amazing
Yes.
human being he is.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And I feel like in a lot of ways, today's conversation might be a birth or rebirth of a lot of things as well, right? So let's use that there. It's good to have you on here. I'm going to get started. If anyone else joins, that'll be fine. But why don't I go ahead and set the context for today, and then give us a chance to play there. So I'm going to speak directly to the camera for a little bit here, and just get us all started.
Mhm.
In the meantime, I'm also going to mute everyone for now, and then I'll bring everyone into the room. All right. Hmm. A part of me here works is Georgie. Great to have you. Come on in. Come on in here. We're just getting started. Awesome. Great. And I'll bring you in just a little bit here, Georgie. A part of me is like, oh, should I restart the video right now so that like it can start, and when people watch the replay, it can just start with me like looking powerful and talking in, and I'm just gonna allow myself to feel that energy of just being able to come into something with this level of fun. Can y'all hear me, by the way? Is this better if I put my mic like this? Cool. All right. Welcome to the third session of the Next Level Masterclass. And today we are going to be playing and exploring what is your next level. We're going to be leaning into that. And I think to get us started here today, I'd like to read you something here. It's a poem. I am not a stranger to the dark. Hide away, they say, because we don't want your broken parts. I've learned to be ashamed of all my scars. Run away, they say. No one will love you as you are. But I won't let them break me down to dust. I know that there's a place for us, for we are glorious. When the sharpest words want to cut me down, I'm going to send a flood, going to drown them out. I am brave. I am bruised. I am who I'm meant to be. This is me. Look out, because here I come. And I'm marching on to the beat I drum. I'm not scared to be seen. I make no apologies. This is me. This is me, y'all. My name is Niiamah Ashong. And as I was alluding to earlier in this conversation, over this weekend, I had a transformative experience where I was able to recognize the impact of the name Nemo and thank it for getting me to this current level that I'm at. And realizing with every, and this is interesting because it's not just an intellectual realization, but realizing with every cell in my body that for my next level, I need to do it fully as me, as Niiamah Ashong. So it's an absolute pleasure to be on this conversation with you here. And I want to like give us a chance to root into that here, where it might feel that we need to add more on top of what we're already doing. And I feel that the more that we're actually able to embrace our own stories and embrace like what is real for us, the faster the next level can come about. Because I honestly and truly believe that when it comes to playing at a higher level game, it's about taking the things that already make you you and just doing that better, playing that at the next level of what it is. Right. So we're going to explore today. We're going to play in a lot of different ways. We're going to have some fun with this here. But I'm going to invite you to really just allow that whatever else is coming next might be some place that we've already been. Okay. So with that, let's get everyone into the room here. Let's bring everyone into the room. What we'll do here is I will start with Elisa and then make my way down and around here. This is the question I like for us to come into this with. I talk a lot about freedom. And one of the freedoms that I love to explore is freedom of impact and also freedom of expression. So for today's check-in, I'd like you to take either one of them, either freedom of impact or freedom of expression. If you were free to make the biggest impact in the world, or your impact, let's not even say the biggest, but if you're free to make your impact, it could be whatever that is, what would that mean for you? On the other side of it, if you choose to take the other question, if you were free to express yourself exactly how you wanted, and it was just perfect, what would that be? All right, so choose either one of those questions. We'll take a couple seconds right now. Let's allow ourselves in there. See that. And if you're watching this later on, or if you're looking at this here, this question's for you. Take the time right now. Think about that if you had the freedom. I'm going to come to you first, Elisa. Are you ready for this right now? All right, great. So why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself and say hello and then answer that question.
Okay, my name's Elisa, and I've chosen to go to talk about freedom of expression. And if I was truly free to express all of me, I would express this side of me that loves to watch television and do nothing for hours. And I know it's popular to say that people binge watch, but when you actually do it for a really long time, people start to worry about you. So for me to truly express myself, it would be about my love to just check out and watch television.
Awesome there. What was the so you're seeing the sign here. This is something we picked up over the weekend, where it's if you can relate with what someone is saying, you can just go ahead and share the sign in this way. It's just I get
me
you.
Too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I relate. And also if we're talking, there's you want to just kind of give accolades or whatever it is to someone, you can do the spirit fingers as well.
Sending love.
Okay.
Sending the love. Yeah, sending the love. There it is. I think I actually like that more than the accolade. So if you want to send love, you can go ahead and send it this way. Okay. So for us, the shows that I can just binge watch over and over again, it's The Bachelor. I'm a proud fan of the Bachelor Nation, Bachelor, Bachelorette, Bachelor in Paradise, Bachelor Winter Games. I met two people from the Bachelor this last weekend. Yeah, they were those three all together. I met Chris and Crystal and Wills. I just saw them as I was out in the world. I'm I lost it. They're just pseudo celebrities, but I'm so I hear you on that. What's one of the things that you've been binge watching recently, and just allowing yourself to veg out on that really excites you?
Power. Have you heard of it?
No.
It's the king of drugs in New York trying to go clean.
I'm interested. Thank you for that. Thank you for choosing to express, and we'll continue on from there. Thank you, Lisa. DTK, please join us here.
Oh man, freedom of impact. You might have noticed I don't have a problem expressing myself. No, all kidding aside, freedom of impact. This has been a real solidifying week again. Getting me anchored in that craving to really focus my work on the impact billionaires. The idea that there is a community of folk who are all of their energy, all of their effort, all of their passion is driven by that craving to touch the lives of as many people as possible, to shift the way we experience this world. That's the impact. And as much as I've and Niiamah, you know that I've been wrestling with that king versus kingmaker, and listening to Rich this weekend talk a lot about the, he coaches kings, but that distinction he created of is he coaches kings, but he creates kings. The opportunity to unearth that impact billionaire that's latent in so many more people than are actually out there doing something with it already, that's where it gets sexy. That's the freedom of impact, is peeling off the layers of bullshit that under which the impact billionaire is hidden inside.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Peeling off the layers of bullshit. Love it. All right.
I'm still working on mine, by the way. So just to be transparent.
Yeah. We're going to have some fun today, DTK.
Yeah. Thank you, I think.
You're probably welcome. Georgina, how about bring yourself into the room? It's great to see you. It's really great to see you here.
Sorry I'm late. I had to come from another call. I'm just thinking it's no coincidence that I'm in the class. So feel free to peel away some of the layers of my bullshit, because you called it just as I was feeling of it. Because freedom of impact, I've never thought about it in that way. So as you've said that, I visualized myself sitting lotus position and just radiating out from my heart, and I could see that being my best self, just my presence helping people. And I've always thought what I want my eulogy to be, I want it to be, this person has really touched my life. She's changed my life. She's helped my life. But I've always seen that as something maybe that was a lot more, like a village elder or, a wise old soul, having someone to coach. It was always small scale. And part of me is trying to wonder if all of that going out into the world and pushing it out there, being a lot more active rather than static and, environmental. I'm kind of still struggling with that. So maybe I need to sort of have some layers of bullshit and peeled away and a queen made of me. I don't know. Right now, I'm still trying to do the heart center and the impact through being me.
Fantastic. So, Georgina, I'm going to invite you throughout this conversation. And actually, I'm going to invite all of you to lean into this freedom here. Let's see what it actually feels like for us to feel the freedom in which we are, that we're looking for. All right. And it might just be for 40 more minutes, but know that you're in a space with me, a powerful individual, and 3 others, powerful individuals that can hold that space for you. Right. So, Georgina, if radiating from the heart is what you do.
What's that?
Yeah.
Are you sneezing, Elisa?
Yeah.
Okay.
If radiating from the heart is what you do, right, then please let that in there and just know that like that impact of that will be felt here. David and I got a chance to spend our time on a source team for the Rich Liffin Intensive this last weekend. And literally that's part of our job, is to radiate from within us, like the space to allow transformation to take place. And it's an incredible type of experience. So like if that's part of your game, then please bring that to the table. All right. Let's play. Let's all come out here and play for a bit. Is anyone feeling called on right now to play right now that would like to play today? Great. Then I'm going to follow my intuition on this here. All right. DTK, I'd love to play with you.
Bring it.
All right. Actually, here goes the thing. I am already bringing it. The question is, will you?
I'll get back to you on that. I'll let you know how I did.
Okay, cool. Georgie, would you like to play?
Always.
Okay, awesome. As David is getting back to us and thinking about this here.
No, I mean, I'll get back to you at the end and let you know how well I did at playing.
All right.
I'm all in.
Georgina, I'm actually going to come to you next. Elisa, you can breathe a little bit for a little while. I'm going to come to you next. I'm going to go back to David here in this moment here. But David, there's a reason why I did that. One of the things that I want to like with us here is like, I'm willing to hold the tension with us here. Mm-hmm. Right. So this is my ask here. It's going to be easy to make a joke at some point, It's going to be easier for, like, I'm going to ask you to lean into like allowing the tension to build throughout this conversation in whatever way that is. All right. And to create the energy of not releasing that tension. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm happy to create that for you. Create that with you. Dude, I found myself, I was like, I'm really still really curious. I'm curious about how you're an impact billionaire. And what I want to do right now is really just, I'll give you a chance to play in and give yourself the gift that you're looking to give to others, to unearth the impact billionaire within you and to peel off the layers of bullshit there. It's part of the reason why I started off this thing around like the tension, you know, like if we're gonna do it, let's do it. So I want to understand really quickly here. We were on Powerful Story over this weekend, so probably will resonate here. Tell me the story of you.
So, confession, Rich pulled me through that process, and I have not watched the video again. I've read the transcript of it a couple times, but it's been
David,
2 months. So yeah. I'm sharing with you that I loved having that powerful language assembled already. I ain't got it.
Yeah, that's cool. I don't even want what you gave with Rich. Like that to me would be a layer of the BS. I'm asking you in this moment, right? And because I want your story of you as an impact billionaire. I don't know why this is even important to you. It sounds cool. I have no clue why this is important to you. And I would love to spend some time getting to know that.
Interesting. The whole draw to the impact billionaire, that came from witnessing what was around me and following a client. Somebody I started working with as she went through certification and began to transform, watching what she was doing, watching how she was pushing and what she was called to do and the impact that she was called to make. And without getting into her story, for me, it was an exercise in not trying to shape a direction, but following what was there. And I like to orchestrate. I used to be very good at and very drawn to creating as many of the constraints as possible to make it go just the right way. And part of that it was less about control than it was about not having things spin out of control. Right? Same outcome, different ethos behind it. And the more I was prepared, the better I could contain to a smaller set of outcomes. I was fine letting it go wobbly inside, but I needed to have a container. And I missed a lot of brilliance. I am inspired by people who want to change the world. And it's interesting, I've noticed I don't have a cause celeb. I don't have something that I want to see so much more than anything else. And there's nothing external. Everything that I'm driven about, it goes back to the purpose. It's about unearthing and unleashing the power of the heart. Everything that we're capable of, everything that we're here to do, everything that we're here to be part of comes from here. And so rather than changing the way women are seen as part of the economic engine across the continent of Africa, that's not my drive yet. Supporting somebody while they make that shift, that's where I live. You notice that I'm just yammering at this point, so.
Yeah. And I like, now that we've gotten that through, like, we're going to peel off a layer of that, right? We're going to peel off a layer here. You talk a lot about unearthing and unleashing the power of your heart, right?
Yeah.
What I want to do here, Dave, is just give you an opportunity to like sink in with us here. Sink in with us here. And I'm going to ask the question again, like, what's your story?
What's my story? me try to give it an umbrella rather than, I have so many pockets of my story that serve the journey, but I'm trying to put a container.
So that's what you do, right? You
Yeah,
put
no, but I mean,
containers on things to get to certain outcomes. You're willing to
well,
have a
no,
lot of.
instead of trying to look, what was the professional arc? What was the young adult arc? I'm trying to look for what the David arc is.
Okay, cool. Take some time to think about this. I'm going to talk to everyone else that's here right now, right? So as David is thinking through this here, like think about this also for yourself. What's your story, right? Do y'all see part of why I'm asking this question here for him? Like I get the impact billionaires. I get what he's looking to accomplish out there, but there's nothing right now for us to like really grab onto as to like to feel emotionally where he's at. There's nothing there that's able to help us be able to say like, okay, like this is the game that he's playing. I get that he would want to play that game. And I get that there's other people who've like inspired him and he feels really inspired by that. I think we all feel inspired by people who are going for it. But it isn't any reason why like I would stop what I'm doing to work with an impact billionaire. But for this gentleman, it means something. It means something a lot to him. He also talked about unearthing and unleashing the power of the heart. That's his mission. I really like, and it's interesting to say this, like, I don't know what that is for me personally. And David, how I feel about being misunderstood, one of the most frustrating and angering things out there. And you were also in the room where I got a chance to like actually share my story and realize like, actually that's a part of it to help us get to peel back that layer and be able to help us see this here. So the story that I'm interested in is your impact billionaire story. I'm not interested in your path as like a coach and all the different things you've done. I'm interested in like that one moment for you when you realized that you yourself were an impact billionaire. I can see you thinking about it. So I'm going to take you off right now to go, unless you have something right now. I don't want to rush you.
There's a pivotal moment that captures why I do what I do.
I'd love to hear it.
Had an internet strategy and web development company. And we realized that when we didn't know what the broader company initiatives were, our projects always blew up because there was some late stakeholder, there was some thing that we didn't know about that was cutting across the organization that blew things up. So we started about 5 years in of the 15 years that I was part of it. We started requiring that we got time with the entire C-suite. I wanted to know what the ongoing corporate initiatives were, so I knew what all these apps and sites and all the interactive initiatives, how they fit in. I also wanted to know why the company was there. I didn't give a crap what their vision, mission, and values were. Those were words they shoved up on the wall. I wanted to know why they were there, why they existed, what the shift was they were trying to create in this world. I got 5 pudgy white men, most of them were, in the room and say, why are you here? What is it that makes you special? What's the shift you're trying to create? And I'd get crickets. And as I started looking across those organizations, the people that couldn't answer the question, or if they answered it, I got more answers than there were bodies in the room. There was no alignment. And so when I looked at their organizations, I started to see flat growth, flat revenue, flat culture. It was blah. The reason it was like that is because the guys and gals in the room didn't know why they were there. They had no idea what was driving them, what was moving them. So when you bring that to the company, yeah, it's flat. When you take it home, it's toxic. And I was doing that. I was so wound up in what I wanted my company to be and how I wanted the company to look and what we thought we wanted to create, that I had lost touch with what was important, and I was having that same sort of toxic impact at home. And so when I shifted into coaching, what I was doing was serving the same people, the same high performers, but instead of working with them on building websites or even figuring out why their company was there, Started working with them and figuring out why the hell they were there, what moved them, why they were on this planet. Because whether you're an entrepreneur or not, whether you're a leader or not, every human is here to create a shift. The lucky ones know what it is. And it always comes from here. What we're meant to do doesn't live here. That's just how we talk about it. Our brains have a sucky job. They have to translate into language something that doesn't have words. And so what I get to do as a coach is help them touch that and unearth what that meaning is and what that desire is and what that drive is. Because after 10 years or 12 years of doing that on my own for me, or not on my own, doing my work along the way and learning how to listen to my heart and seeing the shift in my family, my community, my business, my world. That's what I'm creating for other people. The Impact Billionaire piece is, this sounds cold, is leverage. It's the opportunity to work with people that are playing at a much higher level and having a much bigger impact. Because I'm not okay with small impact. I don't want to do anything that I can figure out how to do that'll be completed in my lifetime and that I can do by myself. That's boring. And it's shallow and it's egoic. I want something that is bigger than that, that has more meaning and more impact than that. That's how I want to spend my energy.
Awesome.
And I'm glad this is recorded.
Yeah. Yeah. Come back and you'll get a chance to watch that. And I think I really appreciate it. I can feel it. I can feel your heart coming through. Right. And I'm going to say that's another layer.
Mm-hmm.
The layer, what I got there was like, this is why you're a coach. Honestly, as you were listening to it, I was like, yep, this would make perfect sense that he's a coach. You know, why it would make sense for you to be like working with impact billionaires. You kind of tack that on a little bit at the end there, you know, but like, that's been your story for your current level. I'm really like still like we know, like you're in a place where you are in a place where you know what your next level is. You are working with these impact billionaires. So I'm going to invite you back one more time. All right. Let me do this here though, David, like rather than just asking you to do it again and again,
yeah.
let me ask Elisa and Georgie, like what's one of the things that you got, if you're open to this, what's one of the things that you got about David as a result of this? And one of the things that you're curious about David as a result of this. All right. Can we play that way? Would that work for you? David, are you open to that as well? All right. And let me just check in with you. Do you feel like this will serve you?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right, great. So we'll just do this popcorn style. You can just unmute your mic. Whatever you want to share. We'll go from there. What you got about him and one thing that you're curious about.
I felt a huge space of freedom just hearing you talk, David, because I'm at the stage where I'm still trying to work out and unearth all of that. And we're meant to have all these nice, tidy packages and niches that we could put out of market to self-differentiate. We're all a bloody work in progress, right? What really drives us, what really drives the others, and what you've actually created is, you know, this feeling that you can impact others and they can do everything. You know, they can, it's an enabler. It reminded me of Harry Potter school, you know, for wizards. You're the headmaster, bringing out the magic for everyone else. That's pretty cool. But I'm interested to see what Nemo is after, digging deeper, because part of it terrifies me because I'm still trying to work out that superficial layer. You know, I'm a very old soul, but I'm quite a newbie when it comes to all of this coaching. I'm also quite, you know, branding and all the rest of it. I've had a lot of experience in it, so I'm interested to see where he goes with this, because I look at you and think, wow, you know, this is where you're much further along the journey than I am. But just seeing where you are just gives me a huge amount of, it's a pause and a breath and going, okay, that's great, if that makes sense.
Thank you.
DTK, really quickly, allow me to just address Georgie real quick. Georgie, I know you to be a badass, powerful woman here. And there is something here as you're like leaning to the side, like escaping. Like at some point, I think she's gonna be out of the frame altogether.
Yeah.
Like there's this thing that's like, I know I'm an old soul, but I'm a newbie coach and all that stuff here. And I'm like, that is not what we need right now. That's not what you need right now. What we need you to do is to be able to own all of who you are. That like you're an intuitive person that has years and years of that behind it there. Like you hit like the highest levels within your organization, and like when the rest of the organization went away, they kept you on because of what you do, right? And you told us all this here, right? So I'm gonna ask you, like, in terms of your energy and in terms of what you're bringing in here, and as you're rating out here, bring your full self. Because we want to practice with you in that space.
Yeah. So something, there's one question that keeps coming up for me. And David, when you said I can't remember the exact words, but it was about changing the world. So you don't want small fry, you want to change the world. And what's going through my head right now is, why do we all have to go out there and want to change? In fact, even as I'm saying it, I've just answered my own question. But here you go anyway. When is it enough just to be yourself and to be a good person and to help other people? But then wanting to change the world is an expression, it's an intention. I mean, if I was to put it in a Buddhist paradigm, it would be the wish for enlightenment, or the wish for bodhicitta. It's a step and it's an intention. And that makes perfect sense to me. If I put it in that frame,
that has an energy in and of itself. Just setting that intention shifts the energy of those around you. It has a ripple.
When I start to feel it, as opposed to think it, it becomes a lot more intimidating, a lot less intimidating.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Georgina. So I'm gonna leave that there. Did you hear what she was curious about, DTK? She had a question in there. Did you hear what she was curious about?
It's about, when is it enough?
Is that what you?
There were a couple flavors of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll leave that there. There's something there, right? And I would say, like, the question that she's asking her, your story has now led her to be that more curious. So think about that as well. And then, Elisa, let's go to you. What is one thing that you got about David, and one thing that you're curious about?
I got that David wants to leave a legacy beyond himself. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can relate to, but not everyone knows what the next step is. So I think it's really cool that you have it defined. But selfishly, I was a little bit relieved to know that you didn't even know how to define it on the spot. You had to take a step back to do it. So I was like, okay, well, at least he can't do it right away. That was the selfish side of me. But what I'm curious about is your testimony. So you talk about how you stodgy room of white men, and then they get purpose, they know it, and it lights you up. What happened to you once you got that? Did your family change? Did you change? What was the result of you figuring that out for yourself? I think that I didn't hear the testimony in your story. Who cares that you have a legacy? You know what I mean?
It gets complicated because I went into a severe depressive spiral, and by 2005, the only thing I was clear about was the 5 best ways to kill myself. I had really gotten so disconnected from what was important that, sort of had that Scarlett O'Hara moment. It's like, as God is my witness, nobody else is going to have to go that fucking far, because I had gone that far, and I had isolated myself. That awareness had to go through a long trail to shift into action. I'm stubborn. I had to go really far down the rabbit hole first. You can tell the story without that, and it sounds like I just flipped a switch. No. Yeah, it got dark and ugly.
Hero's journey.
Right? Therapy, coaching, and some really scary shit. I would leave for work in the morning, and Elaine was never sure if she was going to see me again that day. So it got dark.
David, I can feel your heart in this moment.
Yeah.
Right now. And I'm sending some love. To what I'm feeling right now is like, to the extent that you can own that part of the story without having to go there, without having to like revisit it, but the fact that you can own it, like, I mean, how like, can y'all feel David in this moment right here? Can you see why some of this would become important to a man who's gone all the way down to like the darkest parts of it here? Like the impact of where he says it, like you don't even see what is happening to your family, and he's talking about his wife, and she has that question in her mind. Can you see like where like so there's an element here, David, that around your story. This is important. This is important because like it is your story. It is your story, and in this moment here, let me just check in with myself here. Yeah, let me ask you here. Are you willing to play like, and not in this moment? I think we can move from here right now. But if there's anything else you want to share, feel free to share it. But like, are you willing to own those parts of your story as well?
Yeah. I mean, I am. It's in the book, and I talk about it, and trying to make it in the TED Talk. I mean, it's something I put out there, but I haven't. And I have not linked that into the impact billionaire piece, nor have I looked at it through the lens of legacy. Part of when this impact billionaire thing idea bubbled up was I learned about the three in the Mexican culture. I learned about the three different deaths, right? One is the first time you experience mortality, whether it's a scare on your own or a close family member that passes, that's your first death. The second one is your corporeal death, when you actually die. And the third one is when your name is mentioned for the last time. And that really speaks to that legacy. It's, what am I doing that's going to change that lever?
Yeah. So I'm going to pause you really quickly.
The piece.
Yeah. No, it's okay. Right. You don't have to, like, I'm pausing you because I want to pause you. Yeah. Like nothing other than that. When you started talking about legacy, I was losing the connection, right? Because now all of a sudden we started talking about this third person thing. We started talking about, like here goes the three different ways in there. And, and I gave space to it to see if like, is it just me or will this actually come into it? And it didn't really land, right? Where I feel there's some elements in here that gets to it is it stays in your story. It stays in your story for now. And there is the part around bringing it in and linking it in, and then also linking in what being an impact billionaire means for you. What does it mean being an impact dollarnaire mean, or like an impact like hundredaire or thousandaire or millionaire? Like maybe you haven't been the billionaire on that. I don't know, but there's this element here that like your story and going down to the very depths of it. Like I felt you most when you were talking about that. That was definitely the most. The second most I felt you was when you were talking about how bored you were. You're like, this is boring, And I'm like, I could see people being out there like wanting to escape the boredom, but like what you're talking about is even more important. Life or death. You even have death in 3 different ways that you can die. I talk about whether or not I'm allowed to be angry in front of other people because it's a life or death thing for me. I get angry, the wrong person feels uncomfortable, they call the cops, and I can die one of 2 ways. They can either shoot me on the spot and get away with it, or they put me in jail and my life is over too.
Languish.
Yeah. So there's something very real in this here that goes beyond like I'm a coach, I want to do good in the world. Like I really think that if I can just get the highest leverage in the world, like everyone's playing that game. Well, not everyone, but there are a lot of people who are playing that game. And most of them are not impact billionaires. They're not kings and people who are creating kings or king making, So there's this element here of like, it's the more you can bring into this here, the more that people can see themselves in your story and actually come along that particular journey with you.
Mm-hmm.
Georgie mentioned the hero's journey. It might be interesting to, if you're looking for a framework to do this, I would be curious about your impact billionaire hero's journey, not your coaching journey, but like your impact billionaire hero's journey. And part of like the depths of where you are right now is a part of it. Like people need to know.
Yeah, and I got to play with that. And I don't want to get caught up in the trap of, this is where coaches, not mentors, right? It's not that we can only take people where we've gone. It's, I don't have to. I hear where you're playing,
Yep.
and I want to make sure I create the distinction of it doesn't matter if I've touched a billion lives directly, because my top value is cascade anyway. So this is how I impact a billion people.
Yep.
And so what I want to make sure is I don't get caught up in the, but that's only 11. That's not a billion, right? Or whatever it is. And it's easy. I can feel myself getting drawn into, but I don't have that.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I'm feeling that energetic draw.
Yeah.
So I need to keep that distinction alive for me.
Can I speak to that really quickly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Your 11 is important. Right. Because the whole thing that you're saying is like, I can make, because what I get from you is like, I can make impact. I can make impact on up to one person. I can make impact to 11 people. And now I'm like, but I know how to make impact. And I'm choosing to work with people who are also making impact, but the level, the scale that they're playing at is at the billion people level.
Yeah.
Right. It's not, and there's nothing different about it. Right. It's the same thing that like when it comes to like coaching and enrolling clients, the same way you enroll $1,000 clients, the same way you enroll $100,000 client. It's the same process. You're like, but it's that story of impact, the story of when you awoke to your impact, the story of all that stuff there that like we're missing. We're missing that. And we want to know that we can come from, having high levels of success and building websites and doing all this other things and being in a room with the C-suite and going through like the pits of everything, going through despair and to those areas and, having to face one or many of the 3 deaths along the way. Those might be your different trials and tribulations along the way, how you fought each and every one of those 3 deaths and you're still making impact. And then your people will, you can add the extra filter. Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. But there's this element that's been missing for me. And we've been talking about this for a while. It's been missing for me for a while. So I just want to make sure that I presented this out here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And you too as well. Thank you.
DTK, because I'm going to go to Georgina in just a bit here. If you're going to if there was one area, because like what you do is you're creating your kings, right? And you unearth and unleash the power of the heart. If you're going to peel off a layer of bullshit on anything on Georgina, what layer would it be? And then we'll go ahead and play.
I want to take a very sharp blade and scrape off the newbie bullshit. Your newbie narrative is you can't be an old soul and be new at anything. There's a through line for you that comes from essence. Yeah. So scrape the newbie narrative off. Just
it's in my head. It's not in my heart.
It's not even in your head. It's just in your language.
Okay.
You have such an opportunity to let go and lean into that old soul. There's so much peace and stillness in you. And that newbie narrative bullshit just unsettles that still water.
Yeah, you're right.
Just one thing. Just one.
Awesome. So thanks for pointing us in a direction there. DTK, I'll let you go and I'll take you off the hot seat for a little bit here. Georgie, I'm going to come to you and we're going to play a little bit with this layer that DTK pulled out here. Let me go first though. I want to just check in with Elisa because you've been a witness and a participant in a lot of this here. I'd love to just get from the conversations that we've had so far, what's been your biggest insight thus far?
Biggest insight is that what's real is what matters.
And what's real for you right now?
I without going into detail, I'm thinking about my own story and like what's real for me. And it's hard for me to like embrace it because I want it to have like a hero's journey like David. I don't want that journey, David. But you know, it's pretty smooth sailing, and I'm like now challenged to like embrace that smooth sailing journey because that's what's real and that's what matters.
Yeah. I would, my invitation for you as you're listening here is to think about your pains, because it hasn't been smooth sailing. You're a human being. There's no chance on earth that it's only been great, you know? Otherwise you already be like, yeah, like you're a human being, but your pain may not be the pain that other people feel.
Yeah.
My pain is a pain of loneliness. My pain is a pain of being so successful that I feel that like people aren't going to be like going to want to be around me. It's a really interesting pain that like a lot of people don't have, but it's my pain, and my people come with it. My pain is knowing that I'm meant for greatness and I'm living in a world of goodness, and I'm surrounded by other people who think good is like the highest level. Oh my God, that frustrates me. So your pain is important, and that's part of your story. So I'm going to invite you into that as you're listening and as you're playing out here, that there is, it's important. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. So let's go over to you, Georgina. We have some time. We have time on our side here, right? We're talking about the next level here. Like as you're seeing it, it's about owning who we are right now. It's about owning that, so we can just create that. Because this, as David pointed out, this newbie story is like it's going to keep you exactly where you are. As much like you can find a perfect niche out there, but then to be a newbie in that niche, like picture dragging that around with you everywhere you go, and the impact of that. All right. Mm-hmm. So let's just play. I feel like story is still like it's real for me right now. Stories is really real for me, and so I'm going to lean into that. Georgie, we want to get to know you, right? You have said multiple times that you're an old soul, and I have no idea what that really means, you know? So can you tell us the story of your soul?
No. Do you know why, Nemo? Niiamah. Niiamah. What a beautiful name. Because that's just introducing layers. And I don't need layers. I don't need a narrative. I need to just be. Right? I can use it as a metaphor if you like. But if you really want an old soul to express what an old soul is, that's just what it is. It is. It doesn't need expression. That's what all the various lives are, and all the various adventures and all the various experiences. They're narrative, right? They're just narrative for us to express and to experience. So yeah, I don't need to tell you a story about where it is. If I want to really go in and answer you as an old soul, I'm not going to start speaking of you in an embodied expression, because I just committed before you asked me to put myself into my center and answer you from there, and not as a newbie. So here we go. Ask another question.
Boom. Yes. I thank you, Georgie. I felt that. You get all this here. I felt that come through there. I'm like, boom, this is it. Like, we're done. Like, at this point, you've gotten what you needed. Because if you go through the world like this and get out of this, and just go through with what you just brought in there, and coming from that centered position there, we get you energetically. There's good.
I don't need to create. I just need to remember.
Yeah, and just be it. Just be. Hell yeah! Like you were saying that, you're like, no. I'm like, okay. You know, and the more and more you came from that place, I was like, oh, I want some of that. Like, so Georgie, given that here, like, let's just blow this thing open. Like, now that you're coming from there, we can play. What would be really fun for you in this conversation? What would serve you now, like, from here? And you might be like, actually, I'm good with exactly where I am, and that's fine. But let's just go.
Okay, so I've got me answering you as an old soul, but I've also got observer right here.
Not interested in observer.
Okay. So the question is coming back to me. It's like a feeling of play. I want to play.
Yeah.
And the thing that I want to do is ask you some questions.
Cool.
I've had some curiosity, but also I feel leaning in towards this dark side as well. There's play in both sides, neither dark nor neither light, and I think I've been a bit worried about that, you know. But you just took David into a place where he was aware of going through the darkness and integrating that into who he is as part of a journey, as part of his own journey, right? To be where he is. And I think it's interesting how we're always trying to be completely light rather than owning who we are and how we are. Yeah.
So, Georgina, in this moment, is there anything about you that you'd like to own in this moment?
Everything, but I have a feeling I already own it. It's not about owning, it's about letting go. Right? I've already got everything. I just need to let go of some of that inhibition, let go of some of that fear, you know, fear of consequence, fear of everything else, because that's me. That's newbie up here, right? You want me to sit in my power center? All I want to do is play. Everything is just connection, and everything is just energy. Yeah.
So, are you complete then, Georgie?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm feeling it in my body. I'm feeling like this high. I don't even know how to explain it. It's kind of like doesn't feel good necessarily, but it doesn't feel anxious. Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question. Let's see if it goes anywhere. What's the game that you haven't allowed yourself to play recently?
I haven't allowed myself to. The word comes in. No, it's a bad word. It's not right. I don't even know why that popped into my head.
I'm so curious about it.
Pierce other people's souls. Because piercing has negative connotations, but that's attached to my fear. Do you know what I mean? Ultimately, we all connect. Ultimately, we're all playing in everybody else's backyard, right?
Tell me more about piercing of the souls.
Okay, so wherever we go, wherever we touch somebody, wherever we see, we leave an imprint, right?
Keep going.
Yeah.
So here goes the thing. I actually don't know, right? So you're saying this as a we element right now. I actually don't know. So if you can actually say it as I and let me know through your experience, and I can maybe grab what I need to. But I can't say I know that because I don't.
Okay, so you look at somebody and you have a soul connection. You feel psychically connected.
1 second. Yeah. Take me to that. If we're gonna do this,
okay,
take us there in first person there.
Point. Okay. I read eyes. I feel psychically connected. I can feel on an energy level that there is a connection, and sometimes I've actually played it because you can feel it. And I've actually played that death game, David, where somebody has thrown something into me, like a snake straight into my head. It's like an energy play back and forth. And there's always an imprint. I was playing with what my powers would be. I was playing with my energy. I didn't know how far it could go. I closed it off. That guy walked away and felt like he could kill somebody. I'd awakened something in him. We leave imprints. I leave imprints. Every single one of you leave imprints on me. We leave imprints on each other, whether it's a suggestion, whether it's an idea, whether it's dropping a barrier. We're all doing this, but you want me to play with my soul? You're upping my game. So if I want to own something, I need to make sure that I'm not going to fuck people up. Maybe that's where this bodhicitta needs to come in. That's where what I'm visualizing so much right now is sitting in my heart center. Because right now there is this huge energy that's coming from my solar plexus. And the only way I can possibly let it manifest itself is by balancing it with my heart. Not as strong yet. Because right now I have energy to play whatever I want. I'm not going to unleash that. It has way too much fun digging deep without knowing the repercussions. Actually, I do know the repercussions.
So, yeah. Georgina, I'm going to thank you. Thank you very much. It feels to me that the game that you want to play is to pierce people's souls again. It's come up in every single conversation.
It's not piercing people's souls. That's not the game I want to play.
So can you play with me for a little bit here?
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm seeing something that you said piercing people's souls is a bad thing, and you wouldn't even let yourself say it, right? And what I've gotten from you on all of our conversations around this is the huge burden and level of responsibility that you feel here, and I really want to acknowledge you for talking about this part of the story, because you've talked about it from a very high level perspective. Like, I once looked into someone's soul, and like it was just really dark, and that, like I feel like we're getting closer to you owning that part of what it is.
I'm calling bullshit on it. Actually.
In what way?
Nemo, I'm calling absolute bullshit on it. That's not who I am. That's just a whole level of fear that is overlaid on top of that. And I'm calling bullshit on it right now.
So tell me more. Like what are you calling bullshit on? Because like I feel like we might actually be saying the same things, but at the same time I'm not sure.
Piercing people's souls, darkness, all the rest of it. That comes from a fear base. I've been out there in the world. I've been trusting up in heart centered. So what if things went pear-shaped? Part of the hero's journey. Yeah, not this life, many lives. We're all here. We've all done awful things. That's part of the hero's journey. For every victim, there is a person who's doing the crime. And part of our hero's journey is being both sides. How do you think you can have the empathy? David, how do you think you can have the empathy as a coach if you hadn't gone through it yourself, right? I'm calling bullshit right here, right now on my fear. Okay. Great, learn from it. Let the fuck go.
May I share something that came from this weekend?
Please.
Yeah.
Heyo, somebody that we were with this weekend, I was dancing with a lot of my fear this weekend. And one of the things he shared with me is fear is an energy that exists in the universe independent of circumstance. We fear. Fear is a construct. The intellectual piece of it. And fear is something that we choose to take on. It exists independent of circumstances. And so we choose to be afraid, and consequently can choose not to be afraid. It doesn't mean we won't respond to the circumstances, but fear exists independently, and since it does, you can remove it. And so I've been wrestling with that for 3.5 days. Is trying to unpack that and look at where I am mapping fear. You understand your power at such a visceral level, and there's a piece of you that's terrified of it. So it maps that fear of, I might use it badly. Okay, so you might. And there are 2 ways to deal with that. Fuck off and do nothing with this enormous power that is bottled up inside you because it might go badly. Everybody makes messes. Leaders clean them up. When you have a power like that, you're a leader. You clean up a mess.
Yeah.
So go.
You know what I did? I did
Thank you,
a few days ago. I did inner child. I did inner teenager. Woo! That's an interesting one. And the first thing I saw was this huge energy right by my side. This big yellow black, like blurry energy, and I went, "What is that? What is that?" And that's like everything that you are not facing. You've just put it to the side there. And I've lugged it around the whole world with me. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to release you. I'm going to integrate whatever I need to know. You know, whatever serves me, bring it in, let it go. The rest, thank you. You know, free to go. Not quite sure what I need to do about this fear thing now and this dark side. It's a myth. It's a story. It's a limitation. I'm calling bullshit, officially calling bullshit. Thank you.
Yeah. And Georgie, as we wrap up here, I'm going to offer you something as it goes on. Thank you so much, DTK. Thank you for that here. Here goes where I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave you in a place where it's like one or the other, right? Like to run away from the dark side is just as bad as like letting it take over you, right? The place that the reason I'm calling out the things that I'm calling out is that I love for you to be able to embrace it. You have a power. The thing about it here is that with great power comes great responsibility. And it seems to me that there was a time when you were playing this where you didn't know the responsibility that was involved there, but you're aware of it now. You're aware of it now. And like, that is what I'm calling out of you here. It is not I need to call bullshit on it. I'm like running away from it. It's like, it doesn't exist. And it's like, no, it is there. You have the power to pierce people's souls. Sometimes people's souls need to be pierced, but like your ability to gain power over it, to use that responsibly and to help people come back on the other side of it, or to free them from whatever else needed to be there. Like, that's a part of your power. So like, what I want to be able to help you play with is really to play with this here and be able to do it in a way that is responsible. But it's also holistic. I guess that's the biggest thing there. There's nothing inherently, like to David's point here about the fear, there's nothing inherently good or bad about the piercing soul. I know that to you there's a connotation around it, so I don't want to use that lightly. I know that piercing someone's soul might actually be way more than what I'm intellectually thinking about right now. So I want to call that out. And your ability to be with that and to masterfully be able to leverage all that you need so that you can bring out the full tools that you have. No tool is inherently good or bad. It's how we choose to wield it that makes it so. And so that's what I'm calling out of you here, where you have the tool and how you choose to use it. Go ahead.
You know what your initial question to me was with how am I going to be? I'm just going to be. That whole fear thing is just another narrative. And it doesn't serve me.
Fantastic.
And I need to remember what I am underneath, who I am. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for playing. So let's do this here. We're at time. We're going to go out here and end with just a one sentence checkout for all of us. And, you know, I want to just acknowledge you, Elisa, for like being here, adding everything that you're doing here. Like, sometimes we go in deep with one person. Sometimes we go in, everyone talks in here. And I really just want to say, like, your presence in here has shifted the way that this conversation went. So thank you for playing the way that you played here today. Let's go with a one sentence checkout for all of us here. I'll make a quick wrap up for everyone, and we'll end. Anyone want to start?
Grounding.
Thank you. You're muted, David.
Good God. So evidently it is freedom of expression. Feeling the shift beginning.
Thank you.
Remembering my pain.
Thank you all. Thank you all. This is what the next level really involves. It involves bringing in all of who we are so we can continue to play out further. And I want to acknowledge all of you for doing this work here and playing this game. Like, I can feel myself wanting to build some things as a result of this conversation. And I know that in every step that we take, the more that we can own all of who we are, the more access we have to levels beyond what we thought of. If you're watching this, if you're part of this, every one of you here in this conversation right now, I know that you're already an incredibly powerful person. And so understanding what it is around your story that you're holding in exile is part of what will help you be able to access all of what you're looking to accomplish next. And then it'll show up again and we'll play the game again. So I acknowledge each of you for playing. I'm looking forward to the conversations we have. The next one we have is on next Tuesday. That's the 4th session in the masterclass. And we'll just continue on from there. All right. I would ask you all, if you have any insights or feedback or anything for me, send me a message. I want to grow through this process as well. And it's really great to build this with you, co-create this with you, so you can get more of what you need. All right. All right.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Okay, is your son's fiance okay?
Yeah, that's the phone call I'm making right after this. She's back in the hospital in LA right now. So we're trying to, I don't really know what's going on, but thank you for asking.
Okay. Thoughts and thoughts. Yeah.
Thank you.
And we're still
trying to figure that out.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So let's leave here with love full in this circle here. Go forth, go practice. I'll see you all next week.
Thanks, Niiamah.
All right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Be well, Niiamah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.